give an update, and I'd be happy to either answer questions at the end, or I'll stick around in case anybody just wants to come up and talk to me one-on-one, either way. So,
What's that dude's name again?
Alex Stray. Alex Stray, he's a good guy, great city manager. So, and before I give an update on things, and then I'll cover a few things, I don't wanna go too far, and you can ask me questions about things that are going on. I did wanna acknowledge a few people here, because we've got a lot of boards and committees that we rely on for the city, so I have an appointee on each one of those boards, and Joanne is my appointee for our finance and budget review committee. She's more than highly qualified for doing that. She's an eagle eye at looking at that.
That she is.
Just as she does with our budget here, so I really appreciate that, Joanne. She's been doing it for years and really taking it very seriously. Greg Creamer, who used to be a city commissioner too, so he knows the city well. He's on our planning board, so I appreciate your help on that, Greg. And I've got other appointees, but the other person in Belle Vista is Tia Hawkinsmith, who lives right down there, a few houses down. She's our appointee on the Historic Review Board. So 3 appointees right here in Belle Vista. So appreciate all you guys' work and making things happen.
Isn't Wendy still on the library?
Oh, Wendy's on the library, thank you.
Wendy
Mr. We have the library board. Wendy Holmes Boring is on that. She lives on 43rd. She does a great job. Thank you, Greg. I don't want to miss it again.
And the new library, I'm told, is awesome.
Good, good.
So-
I had that on, I kind of have a loose agenda of things to talk about, but that's one of them. For any of you that don't go to the library, you ought to just check it out. It's kind of neat. It was built in the 60s, but it's kind of like a 50s, and it kind of went back to a 50s retro. It looks great.
But updated inside.
It's
All
everything.
new text.
Actually,
All new.
everything. If you noticed,
Yep.
even the outside, that old, it's precast concrete, and they clean that up. It looks great from the outside. Tore out all the landscaping. We bought some additional lots. I don't know if any of you know that, but we've been buying additional lots to the east. So we have completed that whole block. We're on the south half of the block. That's Corey Avenue to 73rd, from Line Pass Road to the east. And we just purchased the very last one, and there's a house there that's scheduled for demolition. And that's gonna
Fantastic.
complete that whole half a block.
That's great.
So it not only makes it nice for the library, but we're also work very closely with the Corey Avenue Downtown Association. So when they have events or they need more parking, we use the parking for, when the library's closed, obviously the parking helps out the businesses down there. So I appreciate you mentioning that, Travis. I think it looks great. And,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good things to do and to use. They got a lot of good assets.
Good little kids section.
Tons of good, yeah, so the library for the kids is amazing.
Yeah.
My,
You got a touch table.
especially
interactive.
like during the summer, my wife takes the kids down there at least 1 to 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And the folks in there are awesome, and they have different programming for the kids. It's
movies too.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, the new library is fantastic.
They got a lot of online resources too, so,
Cause we didn't have it for,
yeah. It was closed down for about
yeah.
almost a year.
Yeah.
It
So-
really needed major
And just
rehabilitation.
entertainment, DVDs out the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can
DVDs,
get them
but they
from all
got,
over the county, they'll
Yep.
send them there to pick them up.
yeah.
And
Your
because
library card doesn't cost anything, you get it as a resident, and even if you just wanna use all their online resources, they got a tremendous amount of stuff
Yes.
available online too.
Yeah, and you can go online, if there's a book you're looking for, you can go online, it can be sent to this library, and you can go and pick it up
And there's
at our
electronic
library,
as
because it's
well.
connected to the
Yeah.
entire.
Download.
I download their books to tape, books
Yeah, I
was
on my
gonna say,
phone, and I
right.
listen to them in the car.
Right.
Or you can download them and just read them.
Right.
The library system is so underutilized in this.
I think they've got a streaming service too, Canopy or something.
Yeah, they've got all kinds of things.
Yeah, and so you
I
can
I mean,
take
they
the
got
movies
things
right to
like,
your
I don't know
TV.
if you're familiar with lynda.com, it's a resource for all kinds of teaching tools and things like that. You, as an individual, have to pay for that service, but as part of your library subscription is for free. That's just one of thousands of things that they have. It's a great resource.
But kudos to the
Yeah.
city on the library, cause
Thanks.
it is very nice.
Thanks. Kind of along those same lines, our Parks and Recreation system is a great system too. For any of you that don't use the pool's a great resource to have. We've got the community room, we've got a fitness room, we got all kinds of things over there. At Haran Park, which I think not only looks good, even if you don't use it, you're coming in and out of the city. It's a great, I think, entry into the city compared to what it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's
So with the park on one side and City Hall on the other side. And we've been doing free concerts in the park where we have local talent, showcase local talent, a free concert. You can come out and, you know, bring everything you want. You can bring a chair, bring your own cooler, bring your own drinks, or you can typically have a not-for-profit out there, whether it's sometimes the firemen, a chamber, or a different group that's selling, you know, hot dogs and hamburgers and soft drinks and beer and stuff like that. So you can just not bring stuff and just buy stuff. Just trying to make it as family friendly as possible. It was a little bit challenging during COVID, so you had to have a reservation form, which was a little bit of a hassle, but that was more to distance people because they didn't want to, you know, thousands of people showing up and then, you know, having to turn people away. So
For the
it's a
normal
great-
summer programming, do we have stuff coming back this summer, or
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty much fully back. The library for a while, and I can't remember now, still had a mask mandate just because they were trying to be extra cautious, you know, with not knowing clientele and how many people could come in at any point in time. That might be getting over with. I forget where they're at now. All the other city facilities are sort of back to normal. But we've learned a lot, like everybody has with COVID. You know, everything, you know, is now much more reachable and approachable online. Like we really are, our permitting department, ways of getting like your parking sticker, all kinds of things are much easier to get now online. And, you know, sort of forced a lot of people into thinking a little bit differently, which we were on the verge of doing anyway, but that kind of sped it all up, so that was all good.
I have a question on that. How did we go with losing all the city building historical files? They were all online. They all went from.
There was a
and then,
ransomware attack, and we recovered as much as we possibly could. And so
just through cooperation of people.
Well, some of it we had backup files, but we couldn't get all of our files backed up. So what we did, Diana's a realtor, so she probably knows a little bit more than some people. We actually made a request out to architects, contractors, and homeowners and said, if you have your files, can you please provide this back to us, that we have a historical accounting of the ones that we couldn't retrieve. So, yeah, we were unfortunately.
So that was a ransom attack. I never
Yeah.
heard what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, they didn't, luckily we had, you know, the whole trick with that, as you probably know from personal business, is you need to have backups. You need to have good backups. And you don't have to pay that stuff as long as you got the backup. But we had a majority of backups, but we didn't have everything. And so that was some of the things planned. Because I had people asking me, and I said, no, there's nothing. People are so concerned about government, which I understand. And, you know, they're afraid, are they trying to kind of backdoor this thing, get my files so that, you know, they're gonna find out I didn't get a permit for something? I said, no, it's nothing to do with that. It's the city just trying to make sure we have a complete file system. So, that's that.
It wouldn't be so much suspicion if we didn't have somebody filing code complaints every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're a homeowner, then it's really up to you to maintain your own backup besides the city. So if someone said, well, you know, I put in something, and the city, you know, with this city didn't have the information, but it's up to the homeowner to provide it. So everybody has to be responsible for their own.
So a few other updates, in case you haven't noticed, we're doing some work on Gulf Boulevard, and that's a sanitary sewer line. I know for some of you that have been coming to these, it was all planned, anticipated. It's one of those things that we had to do to get extra capacity for a couple reasons. One is we didn't want to have sewer overflows, which would overflow into the bay, which, if you've heard, every city in Pinellas County has had those over the years. We're actually better than most. We've been more proactive. So we have been doing, you probably have seen if you have a lift station in front of your house, we've got them here in Belle Vista. We've been doing each one of those. We have 3 different pump stations, 17 lift stations, and miles of pipe. So when you flush your toilet or you run the laundry, you do something, it doesn't just magically disappear. There's a lot of work that goes into getting that off the island and processed. So this pipe is a expansion of the sanitary sewer pipe. The last time that system was put in, well, the only person that remembers it is Frank, was 65 years ago.
Wow.
So it's a major project. It's something that has been challenging. You know, I think the city could have done a better job with communication. But beyond that, it's actually going pretty smooth. It's going all the way from where the Hotel Zamora is, up north, all the way to where Gulf Beaches Elementary School is. And that's what we call pump station number 1. And it goes subaqueous through St. Pete all the way to a water treatment plant in St. Pete called the Northwest Water Treatment Plant. So it's a major project. They started the northern half first, if you remember, right by on Gulf Boulevard, on the right-hand lane, right, they dug the first hole going to Ocasega Drive. And they did that whole thing, that's complete now. And then now they're doing the southern half. It's a mess, I know. It could have been worse. DOT originally were requiring them to do what's called an open trench. And so what you see in spots would have been the whole way. So through us and the contractor, they were allowed to do what's called the jack and bore, and that's where you dig a hole in another hole and you drill it and then pull a pipe back and forth. They unfortunately, because of engineering issues, they can't just put those holes where they want to put them. Believe me, I've asked, just like a lot of you asking me, why did you have to do it right here in front of our intersection? Couldn't you have slid a little bit south? And they can't because it has to tie into laterals and adjacent lift stations that are next to it. So it's unfortunate, but it's actually moving along pretty smoothly. So the good news is it's moving along. The bad news is that I just got an update today, and that intersection is still going to be blocked the way it is until the end of August. Now that everybody knows how to do U-turns, you know, it's unfortunate.
It's fun with a 26-foot boat, let me tell you.
I've seen some tractor trailers getting by. It's like, oh my
I've been
gosh,
seeing
shaking
some
my head.
landscapers that just barely make it.
Yeah. We don't have a choice. Unfortunately, because of the sequencing of things, this one got just pushed to be in the last one. So you're gonna see the one over there by the Hotel Zamora. I don't know if you were watching, they did the open trench, because what they do is they've gotta then dig and do that trench to connect those two pipes. So they just did that when they're paving over that one. That one should be wrapped up by the end of June. The next one is they're jumping ours and they're going up to 55th, and that's gonna be done at the end of July.
Why are they jumping up?
Yeah, that was my brain.
Well, they have to because of sequencing
They got more
of different
money.
work with the.
It's in the resort areas. I
No,
get it.
it's, believe me, I'm asking plenty. I'm an architect, so I know enough about this stuff to ask them the right questions. And there's a
I
reason.
thought they were gonna like open that up in June and then
They were.
the pump station
They-
in September or something.
No, the whole thing has been planned for the end of the year. And what they're doing is they have to go up and do another one because they can't get the lift station done. They would have to close the road, and they can't close the whole road. So you gotta jump up to 55th, finish that one so they could do a lift station, which then allows them to come back. It's pretty complicated. I don't wanna get into all the details. I just told them, I gotta tell them tonight when that's gonna be opened up, and I don't wanna sugarcoat it. So unfortunately,
End of August.
it's the end of August.
Just say end of August.
Right, and then 50th is the end of September, and then, once they get done with that, that's the pipe going along parallel to Gulf Boulevard. They're gonna then have to cut sideways into 4 different lift stations, so then there's gonna be some other interruptions along the way that way. So the whole thing is gonna be through to the end of the year. The good thing is, we won't have to be done for another 65 years, so we'll be around to deal with the next
Is this taking care of the
So-
underground electric as well, or are we gonna go?
No, that's a whole other project, so, yeah.
It's all part of
That's,
it.
no,
No.
that has nothing to do with it.
No.
But I'll segue into that. So there's good news and bad news. Good news is we're making progress. Everybody said, can't you fix the sanitary sewer? Can't we sometime? We've been talking about underground and electric utilities for 30 years.
Right.
And the biggest issue is money. It costs a lot of money. And so we've been working with the county. We generate a lot of taxes for the county. It's a great tourist destination. So we've been pushing the county at how can you help us make it look better, so it's good for everybody, residents and tourists. So the county has been nice enough to give us millions of dollars to do the undergrounding utilities. We have all of the dollars secured. It's in design right now. We don't even have a contractor on board yet, so this is sort of guesswork as to when it's gonna happen, but it won't happen until at least next year. And they will go from 55th to 75th will be the first segment. That's the easier part to underground, and then they will come back to do from the Don Cesar all the way up to 55th.
Sorry, I thought it was all part of the same thing.
Will
Yeah,
that
no,
be-
no, it's a different funding source, a different utility,
gotcha.
and you can't mix the two
Well,
up.
well, originally.
Yeah,
there-
well, I
there
guess
was talk about
sewage
trying
and
to do
electric
it
together would be
Yeah,
a good idea.
yeah, but you
But
can't.
it can't.
You can't. It's-
Will that be as disruptive?
You know, I'll be able to update you better when that time comes.
Oh,
They're not gonna-
there's that
they're not
elected
gonna do it-
official.
They're not gonna do it down the middle of the hall, or they're gonna do it on the edge of the
There is a
hall.
practice
Sidewalks.
response.
It is gonna be
Just the day before.
No, we'll know a week after.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
But we got
We'll,
millions of
we'll
dollars
know
in
when we
grants.
get out to the lake and we can't go anywhere.
Just like we did last time.
Will
We
the
just
sewer
left-
lines
what?
be helping the
What was
drainage at
awesome
all? I'm not
was-
an architect.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Now, the neighborhood south of
yeah,
us
will the
are
sewer
getting
lines be
nice little
helping the
notices in the
drainage,
mail,
the local
letting them know
drainage
that
No,
it's
no,
coming.
that's-
They let
Which
them
we
know
did-
that we went
Which
down
we
the
didn't
roof.
get.
But they
Got out
said-
to the red light one day and I was like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
I saw
That's
two,
'cause
You're not
he
dealing
I
called
saw two
everybody
cars.
he knew,
turn left into the northbound traffic.
trying to.
I've got a
Because of
big
the-
truck, so the first time I just drove through a bunch of worse barricades.
At the end of my neighborhood. When they, the first day there.
And at first it started, there weren't any like holes or anything, so you could actually push through
Yeah.
it if you
Yeah,
wanted to.
I was like, I don't know where to go, so I'm just going where I wanna go.
It was definitely, I made it clear to say, there could have been much better communication
Oh,
about everything, and signage and everything. That first couple days were a disaster. But anyway, there was a question about, will the sanitary sewer is different than storm sewer. The sanitary sewer is, you know, you're flushing your toilet, water that goes down the sink. The drainage that occurs from storms is a different thing.
That's this.
That is a project going on right there. That's a storm sewer project. So we have two of them. We did one at 44th and Moody, and that was limited to a tide check valve. You probably see the two low areas in Belle Vista are right there, and then 44th and Moody.
Right, the
And
worst ones.
these were so severe that the high tides, and king tides especially, would back up and get salt water in the road.
Yeah,
You
we weren't
did not
even
want to
raining.
drive through that with salt
Right.
water. You want to go around and avoid that, find the high ridge in Belle Vista. So we did it, we're gonna do a tide check valve here. We did one up there at 44th and Moody, so that is now stopping the water coming back up. But it's a challenge because it's gonna be more maintenance in that area, some debris can get caught up in it. And the tide check valve will stop the salt water from coming back up when it's a high tide. But unfortunately, as we're getting torrential rains, that also stops the water from going down through. So we're still gonna have ponding of water, but it'll be fresh water, not salt water. So, you know, we got challenges here. We're all living on a barrier island.
Right.
And unfortunately, the water's not getting any lower. At times, it's getting higher. The king tides are higher than since I've been here for 35 years. Frank probably knows it's getting worse.
Yeah.
I don't wanna get into the politics of all this stuff, but all I know is that
Just the
water's
way it
getting,
is.
it's going up, so we can't ignore it, and we're doing some things about it, what we can.
So
There are
is there
some
a
things that
chart?
are not gonna stop us, like Hurricane Eta that was coming over, it wasn't even a hurricane, it was a hurricane, got here, it's
High
not a
water
hurricane.
event.
You probably saw water coming over the seawalls. It doesn't matter what we're doing at that point in time, so you do gotta be prepared to leave here. I know there's some people are resistant to leave. Believe me, leave. I'm leaving. If you have a major issue like a heart attack, we're not gonna be able to come and help you out. And, you know, if we lose power, we lose our lift stations. We have lift stations on generator power. But, you know, if the sanitary sewer starts backing up, you don't have water, you don't have sewer, you don't have emergency help, you don't wanna be here. And there are even some people in condos that don't, doesn't matter how high you are up, when that water comes up, yeah.
What's the timeline on this project?
This is going to be finished,
In August.
No.
actually, they were,
A year from now.
No,
it's gonna be at the end of July.
End of July.
End of July, yeah.
What
And
year?
we'll see, I'm hoping they're banking on that.
Did you say the end of July?
End
What
of July
year?
for this one.
So end of September.
Thanks for the
I just wanted to stop coming down my street and 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, I thought about you guys because, any of the traffic apps show to go your way. You know, it's,
Because it's just straight on and
Yeah.
they don't slow down.
yeah, yeah.
Welcome to
We'll
my
have
road.
to, I
Welcome to
hope
my
that's
road.
not gonna create new habits. But we'll have to have patrols and have the sheriff out here if they're speeding by your place,
We had
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah,
They just zoom through
Yeah.
there.
Welcome to 30.
Well, I don't have kids there anymore.
Welcome to 39.
Oh,
Everybody
So,
cuts down 39.
trying to think of a few
Because they
other.
don't wanna snake down.
You know what,
the
Right.
street.
we're talking about
I
too,
get it. Huh?
a proposal to elevate the
is
seawalls
a
in
little
Pasadena
stretch
and
of
Johnson's
Moody
Place.
Street between
And some other
40th
flood
and Belvis to
mitigation,
East.
Yeah.
projects that
Just so that
should
they-
help, I mean.
Yes,
Snake
oh yeah, they're
people
gonna help,
under
it's just,
here,
there's
and
nothing that's gonna
turns
totally
and slows people
cure
down.
us from
So
getting
people
hit by
learn this
squalls.
goes right
So,
straight on.
you know, we can do certain things, and then there's a certain amount that you're gonna spend money and get, you know, very little, you know, effect out of it. So we're trying to be smart about it. We are going through ordinance changes that will allow people to build up their seawalls higher than what they're currently building, and trying to, you know, think about the future, because, you know, it'll be here, so.
Somebody
few-
told me that they were talking about 36 inches higher or 38 inches, I forget what it was.
No, there's a datum, it could be, it depends on where you're at, it could be potentially about 2 feet higher.
2 feet.
Yeah, and it's really just allowing people have been asking to do it for a long time,
Right.
and we just didn't wanna do it without having a policy, you know, an ordinance for the entire
Okay.
city to be able to
I
do
was
it.
just curious, I just got one done and it was 18 inches higher. and,
Okay.
I think the
I
city's
guess that was
saying
the
for
code.
Pasadena and.
Maybe, yeah.
I hope.
I'm trying to think of other projects that I could update you on. The pier in Paso Grill, that was, unfortunately, we had to kind of condemn it because it was gonna collapse. That is completely designed, it's in permitting. We found out that we actually don't own it, it's the county's under submerged land lease, so working with the county shouldn't be an issue. And we're gonna get that done. I know for people that fish, it's a great fishing spot. I've had people saying, when are you gonna open that thing back up? So the permitting is in that kind of a project, it's environmental permitting, so it's sort of a wild card. We're trying to push it to get done as soon as possible, so I don't have a timeline, because you can't guess on permitting, but believe me, it's an important project. It's already funded by the city, the design is done, it's just a matter of getting that permit, and we'll get a contract. It's gonna be built the same way. We talked about making it a little bit bigger, or reshaping it, but a lot of people in Paso Grill just didn't wanna change it, and I can't blame them, because they, unlike our nice little neighborhood that stays quiet, it gets pretty crazy down there, so they're concerned of attracting any more people, with the way they are, so. Let me just add one more thing,
I
and,
have one thing to add when you finish.
okay, and Joanne will appreciate this.
A
You know,
question for you.
Okay,
for everybody.
we were as concerned as the city as everybody was last year with the pandemic, and how this is gonna affect us in terms of, you know, our financial stability. So we're very concerned. We had all kinds of plans, just like, you know, everybody else does their personal plans and business plans. And, you know, we get a lot of revenue, even just from parking. And so we had to shut down for 2 months last month, and we were concerned with that, and as well as other things, you know, was it gonna affect property values, all kinds of things. Remember how uncertain it was at that time. Obviously, looking back, we were pretty fortunate. When we did open back up, we opened up and increased our parking rates because we were having to do extra cleaning. You know, we were doing things like all businesses were doing extra cleaning, things like that. So we felt we better increase the rates. Believe it or not, by the end of the year, even though we closed down for 2 months, we actually had more in revenues than we've ever had any other year. Everybody wanted to be at the beach, you know, it's a great place to be, you could distance. We actually, for a while there, had sheriffs at each one of those walkovers. And they were basically measuring, making sure people keep out. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. They were saying to people, nope, you can't come down, there's not enough beach area to have the people, so it's crazy. But we're pulling in over $3 million a year just in parking. And that parking is really, 4.2.
Yeah.
4.2 million, and that's really limited to Paso Grill, We get half the revenue out of the county park, because we share that with the county, it's actually a
do we
county
really?
park, yeah, we get half that revenue.
I didn't know we had
Although
any
your
of
sticker
that.
doesn't work there though, that's,
Yeah.
you do
Oh,
not work there.
I'm aware of that.
Okay. And then Upham Beach, which is our northern beach, which is a little bit more tucked in, but another nice beach. If you feel like Paso Grille's too crazy, Upham's a really nice one to go to. And we have a concession stand at the Upham Beach one as well as the Paso Grill one. So we're very fortunate about that. Obviously, property values haven't gone down at all. And so we ended up being really good and in the black.
4th of July is gonna be at Upton Beach.
Yes, okay, thank you. 4th of July, we're kind of fortunate here because we're the mid part of the city. So I'm always lobbying to get the 4th of July fireworks right here, which they always have been right in the middle part of our island. When we had a sort of a semi-catastrophe years ago that I won't talk about.
That blew me out of
The
the
peanut,
chair.
yeah, the Chinese peanut thing that didn't hurt anybody thankfully, but
We are
Out
allowed.
the window.
we can't blow them off on the beach anymore. We were trying to get a barge. Last year we didn't have fireworks. It was a pandemic there, so we wanted to have it, and the county wouldn't let us. But the year before, and I think the year before that, we had a barge. We could not secure a barge at all. We're thinking about buying a barge, because by the time where they charge you for a barge, we could pay for
Travis
it in a
has
couple
got a
of
big
years.
pontoon.
It's 10 feet from the road.
That's a whole other
Is it
inside
now?
story. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
that story.
Well,
So anyway,
Bring a tape measure.
they're gonna be.
It's 10
One
feet.
time they
I
set them off
promise.
in the, down at Paso Grill in the bay between what was not
Yeah.
Terra Verde and Paso
Yeah.
Grill. When
Yeah.
Guy Lombardo did his thing.
Yeah, in the good old days, right?
Yeah.
So we're
So
gonna buy
we're
a
having it
barge.
up at,
How much is a barge?
we're gonna, well, we're.
But that's
I don't need to get into that right now. I shouldn't even said that.
I didn't see that.
See, see, that's the accountant. She's gonna be questioning that next year's budget.
That also happened.
It's
at
not
Paso
buying
Grill.
it, it's where
The
you
barge
keep it.
blew up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where do we?
Lost
Oh, I've heard
10
stories
feet
of
from
it.
the road.
That's yours.
Do you feel like we'll be able to see?
Well, Upham Beach is probably 2 miles away.
You gotta go out.
So I would suggest you go out to the beach
Well, I
and
mean,
walk
from
up
the
that way.
beach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can see it. It's just,
From
the
the beach.
closer it is, the
You
better.
can see it, but you
Oh, no,
can't.
no, no.
From the beach, from our beach to Upham, it would still be really good.
Yeah, yeah,
You can see it, but the sound is out of sync.
yeah.
But it's so awesome, you got the pedestrian thing over
I got
now.
little kids.
You know, for a little while, there's
That's
no
even better.
pedestrian across
But the
Golf
sound is far
Boulevard.
away.
In the
Oh.
early part of the construction,
Yeah,
you couldn't get across.
I know,
here.
I
This
know.
is so awesome now, you can get.
I know.
Just get across.
I know,
I mean,
thank
just
you.
get there.
It's, yeah.
I mean,
it's-
you, honestly, you're doing great.
Well, thanks. It's a mess of a project, and
Well,
the city could have done better at communication and